Thank you guys all for coming out tonight. We know it's hot, but thanks for coming out. We have one other item to go through at some point, and I'll talk about it and address it here in a little bit. So part of this presentation is to kind of show us where we were when we started. And we started this endeavor in 1946. And our first power bills went out in 1947. You can see what 300 kilowatt hours cost you in 1947. You can see what they cost you in 2018. I think that's pretty impressive. That's awful impressive. There's no other commodity out there that's sitting there at that same, that can boast 72 years later that they're reasonably that close. I didn't do this one year, and I got a lot of flack about not doing the energy dollar, so we're going to go through the energy dollar itself. And if you look at the energy dollar, which is about $77 million a year, it's a little lower this year because of power costs, but if you look at it, a little over 72% of that is power itself. So the power that we buy, that's basically the majority of our cost. 18.3%, that's our operating expenses. You can see depreciation, interest, and margins make up, the 4, the 3, about 10%. And what is that as far as operating expenses? Those are basically, for the most part, our controllable expenses. We're talking about transmission expense, which we really can't control, but they're actually called controllable expenses because we have to buy them from somebody else. We have to buy them from the market. Regional transmission expense is the same thing. Then we have our operations maintenance. We have our customer service and customer accounts, sales and marketing, administrative and general, and taxes. And yes, we do pay taxes. And we don't pay federal taxes, but we pay quite a few taxes. And I'm going to go through a bill so you can actually see what taxes we pay. Taxes really, they show up in our controllable expenses, but how controllable are taxes? Are they very controllable for you? Not much for us either. So what we were doing with that 18.3% is to walk you through what does that mean to you. So we do what's called the key ratio trend analysis. We benchmark ourselves against all the rest of the co-ops who participate. And there's some 900 co-ops total in the United States, and 809 of them participate in this kind of survey every year. And it uses your financials to compare you to everybody else. And if you look at us compared to the United States, and we have the 2016 median, that the median was $494 per expenses per consumer. Ours are $275.37. You see our rank there, 794 out of 809. That means we're almost at the bottom, meaning we control our costs almost better than everyone else. We're the lowest cost per consumer. If you look at our total controllable expense per consumer for Arizona, you'll see that we're at the bottom, meaning that we are the lowest. We basically control our cost more than any of the other 11 electric co-ops in Arizona. And when you look at us from the standpoint of the folks that all belong to Arizona Electric Power Cooperative or Arizona G&T, we're also the lowest cost. I'll also talk a little bit about the River Fund, and I'm going to talk about things that we're doing with money. You all worked hard, all of us worked hard, and that's what we just talked about with Sonny and Regina and the mayor about keeping the money local. This is what we're talking about. This is the kind of money we're talking about keeping local. So this year, 2017, Mohave Electric has given by way of the energy assistance, the way of utility deposit and appliance assistance, the members themselves donating to From the Heart and Operation Roundup. That's that little thing on your bill that you want to round up your bill. That's where the money goes, and it goes over the River Fund. So $89,000 is what goes to the River Fund this year from MEC. What I think is kind of amazing is, and hopefully you're all aware of the River Fund, aren't you? You know what that is, right? The River Fund, what we've given to the River Fund since its inception in 2010 is $642,000 has come from Mohave Electric to the River Fund. Not a small number. We just got a letter from Mike Connors in May, and since the inception of the River Fund, they've been able to help people, thousands of people. But the total amount that they've been able to help with is $1.87 million. About a third of that help has all come from Mohave Electric. You guys directly, us, Mohave Electric, and using those the patronage capital that the state was trying to drag away. So these are the numbers that we're talking about that we were trying to protect. Also part of that assigned capital credits are our youth tour. And I'm not sure, is Elizabeth here tonight? She talked about being here. But Elizabeth Martin went, and you can read what she says up there, but essentially it says that she didn't have the confidence that she needed, she thought, to do what she needed to until she went on the youth tour, and she really enjoyed and really got a lot of positive from meeting with Sunny and meeting with Regina, and she talked about it as being really a high point. These are one of the things we're doing. Right now we have 8 students that are traveling back to Washington, D.C. on the youth tour for this next week. The education programs we'll also deal with. We have our classroom grant program, in which we have 18 $200 grants to teachers who apply. And what that's for is, we know that money is tough for the education system, and they would like to at times be able to do a project or do something in their classroom that's a little bit unique that they don't have funds for. That's what these are. They create a specific program and a specific curriculum, and then we fund that curriculum to do something unique and different. And you can see what we've got from one of the teachers as far as some feedback. Sorry, I'm getting a little dry. Today you walked through and you saw the Co-op Connection card. Hopefully you all have your Co-op Connection cards. You're all aware of that. It's not been insignificant at all. And to date, over $2 million people have saved on prescription drugs alone. Now we're not able to track everything else, but from a prescription drug standpoint, that's a huge number. That's the money that you all kept in your pocket. I'm going to go through this because I'd be surprised. I go to various clubs. I'm not going to name the one that I go to that the mayor goes to because I don't want to call them out. But I go to these meetings, and I'll always ask everyone, do you know what's on your bill? Did you look at your bill? Did you see your bill? And most of the time, the answer is no. Even at the group that the mayor was, no one saw their bill. A spouse pays it, or they just pay it automatically. Nobody looks at their bill. So what I thought I would go through, because I end up going through this often, and I thought I would just go through what's on your bill. You all recognize, well, hopefully you recognize this bill, or something like this bill. So what you'll see on the top and the left, you'll see the total kilowatt hours that you used. You see at the bottom on the monthly usage down there, that gives you the last 12 months or so of usage, that you can compare the month before to this month. You can go back and see when your high months were. It's something you can use to check. And then we split up those kilowatt hours, and we have it in tiers. And the reason why we have it in tiers is we were forced to have them in tiers by the Arizona Corporation Commission. Their theory on the tiers is that there's an economic incentive or an economic disincentive to use more. So there's an incentive to use less. So that's why the tiered programs are in play. Wasn't our wonderful idea. But you can see how it's calculated out. And you see the first 400 at one lower tier, the next 600 at another tier, and anything over 1,000 has the next tier, the next highest rate. And the total adds up to $12.96. So what's in there? What's in that rate? Not just the cost of electricity and the cost of power. It's the cost of fuel, the cost of generating capacity, the machines, the generators are the machines that we use to actually make power. And we get our power mostly from Arizona G&T or EPCO. But we also buy on the market. We've been very involved in making sure that if we can save you money by buying in the market, we're going to buy in the market instead of generating ourselves. So we don't just blindly generate. There's fuel that's for those generators, and of course we pay taxes. We pay taxes on the generation, and we pay taxes when we actually sell it to you. It's an interesting thing. We get taxed twice. There's also the cost of transmission capacity, meaning in order to get our power into the bubble, as it would be our load bubble, our distribution system, you have pipes, lines that we have to buy. We have to get access to that. We have to buy that. It's the cost of getting power. If we bought power out of the Vegas area and delivered it in, you have to have transmission to get that in play. We also have a purchase power adjuster. That purchase power adjuster, what is that? And you can see what it is. It's minus 1.5 cents. What that is that reflects our opportunity that we've been able to save money by going out to the market, opportunity by working hard to reduce cost of fuel. That at times is just the way the market is, because sometimes we don't get to control the market as far as gas or the market when we go buy power. But this is required by the Arizona Corporation Commission. Every regulated utility has to have this. And you'd ask, well, why do you have to have that? Well, if you don't, the changes in the wholesale power, and it changes every month. It changes every day. There are times that we're in the market and we're buying power, or the natural gas market changes. So rather than have a frequent change in the rates on an hourly basis, or a daily basis, or a monthly basis, we have this purchase power adjuster, which measures the change, and we keep track of it over the course of years, and try to balance that so we're not shocking and changing your rates on you every day or every hour or every month. And it also helps avoid frequent rate changes. Does anyone remember how much our last full rate change was? What it cost us to go through? It cost us $750,000 to do a rate change. That's the cost to get it through the system. So this helps avoid the frequent rate change as well. We also have a customer charge. The customer charge takes care of the fixed costs that in the distribution system, the lines, the transformers, the meters, all of those particular costs that are fixed, trucks, insurance, that are fixed costs on an annual basis, we cover in a customer charge. And every one of our rate systems has the same customer charge. So if you're a residential customer, everybody pays the same on the particular customer charge. We also have a renewable energy standard tariff that's also required by the ACC. It can't be more than 75 cents. It depends upon your usage, but it won't be more than any residential user than more than 75 cents. And we use that. That's funded our renewable energy plan. And our renewable energy plan, we focused primarily on making improvements to the communities, whether it be solar on rooftops of schools, and we have a great deal of solar rooftops in schools, or solar on public buildings, solar at Bullhead City, the Bullhead City offices. And the idea was, when it was created, was to stimulate the renewable energy industry until it can stand on its own. We've only been doing this since the 80s. You'd hope that at some particular point somebody can stand on their own. Some point. We would hope that. These are the types of projects we put in. We've had 19 schools. So every school that's in our service territory has some form of renewable energy on their roof. We've done 7 fire stations, 5 government buildings, including the City Hall. We've got 5 nonprofits. That would be folks like Boys and Girls Club. So we have been putting that on what we decided with the money, instead of making incentives purely for folks to put on their homes themselves, when we do have incentives for that, but also to help benefit by reducing operating costs for schools, cities, county buildings, that type of thing. So if we can help that, we're helping everybody that way. We're not just giving money to a few individuals. We also have an environmental purchase power adjuster. About a year and a half ago, we started to track all of the things that are coming to us from EPA or other places. And so when we can capture and track that, we're identifying that on the bill so you can see what the cost of regulation. Is that the total cost of environmental regulation? No, because we haven't been tracking this, but we're starting to track it now, and you get to see what it costs. What does EPA cost us? Demand side management. I'll get to that one. Demand side management. That's also mandated by the ACC. Now, we've had programs for many years. You probably are aware of some of those programs. We have heat pump rebates. We do Operation Cool Shade. We do residential energy audits, so we can go out there and help you take a look at whatever you're at in your place. LED giveaways. We have residential lighting LED discounts. We have a brand new program that just is in place since 2016. And that program is the one to residential, low-income residential weatherization, and we actually have partnered with WACOG and the City of Bullhead City on both of those, on this particular program. What it does is it leverages money, federal money, county money, city money. It leverages other money to try to make sustainable changes to people who are low income. And so if you qualify for it, we can make sustainable changes to your place, whether it be weather stripping, it can be changing out your air conditioner, refrigerators. There's a number of things that we can do and that are done. And we've so far, since 2016, have retrofitted 28 homes. We've been able to apply $200,000 to 28 homes. And out of that $200,000 for 28 homes, the Mohave Electric money has only been about a third of that. We've been able to leverage county, state, federal funds to actually bring more bang to the buck for the individuals who are in need. The idea is not necessarily a handout to pay your bill, but how can we help make a sustainable change to where you live so the income that you have can go farther and go longer. So that's the total, that's pretty much the total of everything. And then as you see at the bottom, you'll see we pay Arizona state tax, Mohave County tax, a Bullhead City tax, and then you see the very bottom one, which is the regulatory fee. That's the privilege that we pay for to be under the purview of the Arizona Corporation Commission. That's where that goes, is to pay for the Arizona Corporation Commission. One of the things I'm really proud about with Mohave Electric, and it's been something that is, it is pretty amazing, but the commitment to community. Whether it be putting up the lights at the Mohave Valley Community Park, we had folks that showed up to put those lights up, and that was Saturday, that was on their own time. And they came out and they spent the better part of the day putting up poles. That's pretty amazing that people come out, and that's the kind of folks that we have. Whether it be, as you can see, Relay for Light, Backpack Buddies, our National Night Out, those are all volunteers when you're seeing them out there. And what's pretty amazing is that, you know, I've been in places where people have said, wow, it's pretty amazing that you get 25, 30, 35% of your folks that will go out and volunteer to community activities on their own time. That would be pretty amazing. Well, for us, it's 86% of our folks go out and volunteer. That's pretty amazing. And this is where we volunteer too. And I'm not going to read them all, but what the point really is that it's a pretty big list. Whether it be Friends of Bill Williams Rivers, or whether it be the Boys and Girls Clubs, Boy Scouts, these folks are out there. It's a long list, and it's a big list, as you can see. So thank you very much for coming tonight. Is there anything burning that I can answer for you? Because I know I'm standing between you and all the prizes. Thank you.